Steve Smith here, CAD Tech Guru. Today I'm going to be showing you part 2 of this 3-part series of putting together a site plan, prototypical site plan. Everything is very basic, very easy. I'm going to try to go real slow. Where we left off in the last one was with the block out. So that's where we went in and basically did a very schematic representation of where our drive aisles are going to be and where the parking spaces are going to lay out. So in this one we're going to be starting with the block out and basically going through these 4 steps. First we're going to lay out the parking spaces, then we're going to go back in and do all our curbs and create the backs of the curbs, and then we're going to go into the building pad here and put all our sidewalks in, and then after that any miscellaneous concept specific things that might need to go along with it. In this case we're just going to throw in a grease interceptor, electrical transformer, and apron for the thickened slab at the service yard entrance. Okay, so getting started, parking spaces. Usually I like to start in the front here. So in this concept they're going to want 5 handicapped spaces. So we'll start those centered around the front door. So I'm just going to draw a line. Well, first of all, let me put myself on the correct layer for curves. Since we're working on this area, we'll do that. So let's start up in the middle here and come down there. I'm going to trim this off at that point. So we're going to say, let's center up a 5-foot walk aisle right in the middle. So I'm going to offset 2'6" so that that'll be centered on the front door. I'm going to erase that one. Now off to this side, let's offset 9 feet. Our parking spaces are going to be 9 by 18, so 9 feet, 9 feet. And then offset another 5 foot for another walk aisle. Now let's go do the same thing over here. 9 feet, 9 feet, and then offset 8 feet for a walk aisle. This will be our van space over here. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 handicap spaces. So beyond this, let's just offset 9 feet and just finish out this row. And then we'll do the same thing over here. And we're ending up with something like that. So I'm going to fillet radius 0 to close out these edges. Then I'm going to trim out these spaces so that I don't lose my walk aisle, because I want that to be at the end of it. I think I might have a problem here. This is a good example here. When I drew my line from here down to the midpoint, I clicked another midpoint down here, and those may not have been perfectly aligned. The midpoints may have not been perfectly aligned. So now my lines are a little off a little bit. You can't even see it, it's so close. So what I'm going to do to fix that is I'm going to go back and do that again. I'll put that back just the way it was. And then this time, in order to keep this stuff perpendicular, we want to get a perpendicular snap there. That's really important to watch out for that when you're drawing spaces. When I started offsetting, it wasn't in perfect alignment, so I wasn't able to trim these lines down there. So I'm going to do that for you one more time. Offset 2'6" in order to get that walk out centered. Then I'm going to offset 9 feet, 9 feet, 5 feet. And I'm going to offset 9 feet to get to the end of that. See, it's even coming out a little different. 9 feet. Then offset 8 feet for our van walk aisle, and then 9 feet like that. Now I'm going to go back in and fillet these corners again just to make sure they're nice and perfect. And then I'm going to trim this out again. Alright, yeah, see, it's all trimming out nicely now. Makes a big difference when you draw things perfect. Alright, so I'm going to put a 36-inch radius going into the parking stalls. That's pretty much a typical thing in most cases. When you're turning a corner in a drive aisle, we'll go 10-foot radiuses going around those corners, and then when it comes into a parking space, we'll do a 3-foot radius. Now all of these I'm going to select and put those on the stripes layer. I have a layer for stripes. Okay, so there's the spaces there, which will give us a place to do our handicap spaces. Now, the graphics that I'm using for the handicap spaces, I have a block that I use for this. So I'm going to go off on my side monitor here and grab the block for the handicap symbol, and I'm just going to drag and drop onto the screen. And I can select a base point and a rotation, and then I'm just going to move that over 4'6", which is half of 9 feet, so that it'll put it in the middle, and then just match that to my stripes layer. So there's a handicap symbol. Now I'm going to use the copy command, select that, and I'm going to select one of these points as my base point so that I can drop that back down on all the other spaces in the same point. So there's 5 handicap spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This space over here is going to be our van space, so I'm going to use D-text. Base point here, I'm going to give it a height of 48, and for the rotation I'm just going to pick that, and I'm just going to type van. I'll move it and just kind of eyeball that to get it in a good position, and then match it to my stripes layer. So there's that. Now also we're going to want stripes in these little walk areas. So I'm going to use a hatch pattern, boundary hatch. I'm going to use the ANSI 31, and I'm going to set the scale to 150 and just pick points. And we'll just drop it in right there, like that. And again, we're going to match to get that on the stripes layer. That is pretty much the handicap spaces. So let's move along to the side here. I'm going to draw a line from here. We want to start at this point, not this point, because we offset this a specific distance in the block out in order to create a smooth sidewalk that comes out here without jogging it or breaking the size of it or anything. So I'm going to draw a line from this end point, go perpendicular here. So we know that we're in perfect alignment, and then offset 9 foot. I'm going to use the multiple option so that I can just pick like this until we get as far as we need to go. So fillet radius 0 on the end, then fillet radius 36 to close that out that way. Okay, so I'm going to match these stripes and get all those. So there's that row. Now let's do the same thing on this side. Be sure and get end point and perpendicular. I'll set 9 feet, multiple. There we go. I'm going to fillet radius 0 to make sure that's a clean corner. Fillet radius 36 on both of these. And then I'm going to match the stripes layer that way. Alright, now we move on to the back. Again, starting closest here so that we maintain this distance. Perpendicular. Offset 9 feet. Multiple. Yeah, we're only going to get about 3 spaces there. So I'm going to set my fillet radius to 0 and hit that. Now here, if I fillet this at 36, I'm going to lose this line over here. So before I do that, I want to trim one of these out. That way I can fillet it on both sides. So fillet radius 36. There and there, and then match there. So there's all the spaces on the stripes layer. Okay, now I'm going to move on to these in the front. When laying out this row, I think it would be best to start here and then go this way and leave whatever leftover amount that might be included in there on this side. So that way these spaces will line up and we'll get the maximum amount. This will line up with the driveway above it. So offset 9 feet, multiple. Just throw them all out there. See, that one's getting a little further, so let's not do that one. So fillet radius 0, fillet radius 36, and then I'm going to match these to the stripes layer. Now on this row, we've got the same situation down here as we do up here. It's going to be at the end, and there'll be another perpendicular row of parking coming off of it on both sides. So in order to try to maintain some amount of symmetry here, I'm going to go ahead and start in the middle. Midpoint, be sure and get perpendicular snap. And then we're going to offset 9 feet, multiple, and see how many we get. That works. We'll come back down here like that. So now I'm going to fillet radius 0 on both ends. And down here I'm going to put a fillet radius 36 and just fillet those two lines. And then this one we're not going to need. Again, here it's got the same situation. Well, I forgot to match. Let's get all these on our stripes layer. Alright, so now since we've got, again, the same situation on both sides, in order to maintain symmetry, I'm going to go ahead and... Okay, now you see I'm having trouble getting a perpendicular snap here. So I'm just going to go shift, right click, and then select perpendicular. That way it'll force that to a perpendicular snap. So offset 9 feet, multiple. That looks good. And that looks good. Now I'm going to fillet radius 0. Clean up these back corners. On this side I'm going to fillet radius 36. I haven't drawn this side yet, so I don't really know where that's going to be. Also, I'll wait and do that in a second. I'll go ahead and erase that. And then I'm going to match these to stripes layer. Alright, now on this side, I'm going to line up with this one over here, since it wasn't exactly the same. That way we'll have something nice and similar. So I'm going to trim on this line, knock that out, and then I'll start offsetting down from that point. Offset 9 foot, multiple, put them down. And down here I don't want to go past the edge of this drive aisle, which is where I stopped my line there. So I'm just going to stop right about there. And fillet radius 0. Now here I'm going to fillet radius 36 to tie that in. I'll tie that into there, and then fillet radius 0 again to do that. So now let's match all of these like that. So there's all those. The only one left now is this. Since this is going to be the same on both sides, it would be nice to start in the middle and have this island end up symmetrical. So I'm going to start in the middle again, go perpendicular, and then I'm going to offset 9 feet, multiple. That's about as far as we want to go on that side, and we'll stop there. So now I'm going to trim and knock off these little overhang pieces, and then fillet radius 36 back into these 10-foot radiuses like that. Alright, now I'm going to erase those two lines and then match these to my stripes layer. So for this first step here, parking spaces, that's all the parking spaces drawn in. Alright, so the next step is going to be the curbs. So what we want to do is we want to get all these curbs put offsetted 6-inch so that we're representing the thickness, the 6-inch thickness of the curb. Now, don't fall into the trap of just sitting here and offsetting all day long. If you offset 6 inches, and then you'll have to sit here and go around and do them one at a time like this. And then Whenever you get done with that, then you're going to have to go and select them all like this, and then you're going to have to change them to the back of curb layer. So that is kind of the long way of doing it. I'm going to undo that real quick just to give you a better idea of a better way to do this. If you can convert all of these lines into a polyline, then you can offset them and change them all at once. So I'm going to use the polyline edit command. I'm going to select one of these, and yes, I want to change it to a polyline. I'm going to hit J for join. Just select all that. So now, as you can see, that's all one piece, one polyline. So now I can offset 6 inches and then select it one time and put it on the back of curb layer. Much easier, much faster. So to do this one again, polyline edit, yes, join, offset, and then I can match one of these to get it on the right layer. See how much quicker that is? Especially when you come to bigger ones like this. So I'm gonna polyline edit, yes, join. I'm just gonna select all of this. So see, now I've got all of that as a polyline. So offset 6 inches, put that on back of curves. I've got another one down here. It's just one line, so I'm just going to offset it 6 inches and match it to that. And then the only one left now is our pad. P-edit, yes, join, offset 6 inches, and then I'm going to match this curve line over here. Uh-oh, those didn't tie in somehow. Something wasn't clean about these connections right here that's causing them not to work. So since it's, I'm just going to go ahead and just finish this one out. Sometimes it's not worth going back to make things like that work. So match. I would recommend just doing whatever gets it there the quickest. Okay, I think that is going to wrap up drawing in all the parking spaces and all of the backs of curbs, which is the second part of this process. So the third one is going to be to go in and create your sidewalks and any ramps if you need them. Now in this case, since our parking is right at the front door, what I'm going to do is, instead of trying to do ramps, and it ends up being like a skate park out in front of here. So instead of doing ramps, I'm going to create a situation where the parking, we're going to say the parking slopes up 6 inches before it hits here. That way you can just roll right onto the sidewalk. And then in that case, you don't need ramps or anything like that. What you do need in a situation like that is some type of bollard or wheel stop to prevent cars from driving all the way up on there. Now the handicap spaces have a sign that's mounted in top of a bollard. So the bollard will prevent this car from driving up on there. We'll have to go in and add wheel stops on the other spaces that are in the front here. So with a zero curb, I'm going to explode the curb line so that it doesn't, so that I can offset it independently. And then I'm going to erase the back of curb right here, and just on the edges over here, I'm just going to terminate the curb right there, trim it, and then match that to put it on the back of curb like that. And then I'll do the same thing over here, trim that off, and then just match that to the back of curb. Now this is no longer going to be a curb, so I'm going to put that on the flat work layer, which is what our sidewalks will go on. So that does that. So here I want to offset 7 feet for the sidewalks, and I'll go ahead and do that on the sides in front, and then on this one back here. Now since we're in front of a parking space, normally sidewalks are 5 feet, but if a car is going to pull up to the curb, we like to allow an extra 2 feet for the overhang of the car over the curb. That gives you an additional 5 feet out in front of that. So in front of parking, 7 feet. Anywhere else, 5 feet. So I'm going to match and put all these on my flat work layer. I'm going to go ahead and change my current layer to flat work, since that's what I'm working on now. and then I'm going to fillet radius 36 and just radius all these sidewalks to where they're a smooth transition there. Now in all of these areas, I just want to go in and draw a line and just go perpendicular like that, so that sidewalk just goes straight across. We'll do the same thing here. Draw that line out like that, and then see we have that situation here again, so I'm just going to draw a line from there to there, and then on this one I'm just going to close that up with a line like that. Now on this one I'm going to extend out like that and then just draw another line across there. So that completes all those sidewalks. Now back here there's a door, so I'm going to draw a line and I'm just going to come out here in the sidewalk and use my aperture to line up with the back of the door right there and just go perpendicular to the building and then offset 5 feet since this one is in front of parking spaces. Trim out that and then put our 36-inch radius with a fillet like that. We'll do the same thing over here. Just going to go right behind the door there, offset 5 feet, trim it out, and fill it. So there's those. Let's get one on the front door. I'll just come from the corner. I'm going to use ortho and just overlap the sidewalk like that. Trim that out. Fill at the corners. That's all the sidewalks, so we want to drop in our wheel stop. I'm going to go off and grab my wheel stop block and drag that onto the screen. There it is. Insert that there and then just copy it like that. And then we need it on these spaces. So there's all of those. Alright. Sidewalks, ramps. I believe that's all the sidewalk information. The only thing left to do with the sidewalks in this case is going to be the hatch pattern. So we do want to put a concrete hatch in here. So I'm going to do a boundary hatch. I'm going to change the hatch pattern to AR concrete, and then I'm going to set the scale to 10 and pick points. And there you go. This is where you get to find out how clean your drawing is, because if you've got little gaps in your lines, then that hatch won't work nearly as easy as that. Okay, the only thing left to do is just miscellaneous concept graphics. So in this case, in this particular concept, there is a to-go, and they like to have 4 to-go spaces over here. So I have a block for the to-go parking. So I'm going to drag it over here and insert it on there like that. Move it up 4'6" and match it to my stripes layer. And then I can just copy 2, 3, 4. So there's the 4 to-go spaces. Another thing that this concept has is a electrical transformer. So I'm going to drag it over here, and I'll just drop it out in the middle over here. There's the transformer, and then a grease interceptor. So I'm going to drag that block on here, and we'll just put it over here like that. So there's the grease interceptor. One more thing, there's going to be a thickened concrete slab apron out in front of here so the garbage truck doesn't put a hole in the pavement. So I'm going to drag my apron over, drop it. I'm going to base point and do that as the rotation. So it's a little bit long, so we want to edit that and bring it back into our driveway. So I'm going to do a ref edit, select that, And then I'm going to use the stretch command. Just get that. And then I'm just going to bring it back just inside there. Save those changes. And there's your apron. And that is going to conclude this step. This is step 2 of 3, which is getting all the graphics located in the way they need to be. Believe that's all the graphics we're going to use for this concept. If I forgot anything, I'll let you know in step 3. But I think that should cover it. So that's all for this one. So thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful to you. We'll follow up with the final step in this, which is going to be doing all the notations, annotations, dimensions. We'll put property dimensions in and all that kind of thing in step 3. So again, thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and hope you have a great day.